Good day, learners. I'm Sir Arvin, and today I'll discuss to you on how you will provide a rationale on your research study. But first, let's define what is rational. Rational is written to describe the reasons for any study or research. It prefers a problem with apt solutions. It is a vital portion of any research as it explains its novelty and significance. As we all know, the research justifies a particular problem, and the justification is actually found in the rationale, because rationale is also called as justification of study. But the rationale is actually included under one part of your research paper, which is the introduction. And today, I'll discuss to you not just the rationale, but also the introduction, some parts of the introduction, and also the background of the study, in which the objectives for today's lesson are to describe background of research and to share the relevance of providing rationale in a study. Now let's have the definition of introduction. Introduction actually it gives the researchers and actually readers the overview of what the entire study is all about. It explains the topic and problem that the researchers are trying to address so that the readers will know in the first part of the paper what is the problem that they wanted to solve, or they wanted to propose solution so that it can have a significant impact to the community that they belong to. And it is also used to persuade readers that the research is important, and topic, it has an issue that will again will catch their interest. Now let's have some parts of the introduction. As we all know, we are going to utilize the new format of research paper, in which you are tasked to do the IMRAD format, the introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. And under the introduction part, it contains several sections. It has research gap, rationale, significance of study, scope and limitation, objectives of the study, and background of the study. And now let's proceed with the first discussion, in which I'll discuss to you what is the background of the study. Okay, so background of the study, this is actually the explanation of the area of your study, in which the background study for a research includes review of the area being researched, current information surrounding the issue, preview study on the issue, and relevant history on the issue. Ideally, the study should effectively set forth the history and background information on your thesis problem. And actually, it provides the readers with context, and it also explains the circumstance that led to the study, or what are the premises that will lead you, that will lead the researchers to conduct the study. What are the triggering points? What made you decide to conduct this study? Because of what particular topic, what particular issue, what particular references that you may cite, so that the people will know that your problem actually occurs in their natural setting. and also discusses briefly the problem, situation, conflict of ideas, gaps in knowledge, literature, and theories that caught researchers' attention related to the topic that you are going to present. And here, you also have the three characteristics in writing the background. It should be concise, clear, and persuasive. I know that you know what concise and clear is all about, but let's delve with persuasive. It's important that you are going to persuade the readers, because to convince your readers will help you validate that your research is defensible. Aside from the literature that will support your paper, you can also provide here uh, antitheses, so that uh, to refute or discredit the counter arguments, and so that any position that the readers are thinking can be dealt with, because not all your readers will agree with the topic that you're going to present, and sometimes they might have other opinions. So you might want to uh, tackle those so that you'll also be able to tap them and hear their side, so that you can use actually it to show weaknesses in in the argument that they have, in which that is also called as a counter argument. Now let's have proceed with the example background. This is actually a sample background from a study by Ness in 2009, showing that the researcher clearly explains why the reason to conduct a study regarding reading comprehension instruction to the secondary learners, in which in this particular background you can see that the in the beginning the researcher provides a brief history or brief account of the history of the problem, mentioning whether it has been addressed in any form before. And as you can see, the researchers cited Heller and Greenleaf in 2007, in which it presents a historical data that provide context of your study. And aside from the historical data, it also provide definition of the main topic that the researcher wanted to pursue, which is about reading comprehension. Because not all the concepts that we know about reading comprehension will be the same with on how the research paper will present the idea, so that the researcher at in the very first part of the background explains the concept, and also the concept of reading comprehension might be somehow unfamiliar to some readers, so we can include that as part of our backgrounder. Okay. So another part of background of the study, in which, as you can see, there are several references. Example from Bianca Rosa and Snow, Collins, Deshler, and etc. Okay, so it provides several information to which the researcher think that there is a need for more information in the background, but it depends on the degree to which you need to demonstrate the understanding of the topic as the researchers by underscoring whether any theories, ideas, concepts and terms that may be unfamiliar to your target audience and will require you to provide additional information, in which the researcher here provides additional information uh, by citing references that the researcher think that the readers might need, so that to further understand why the researchers wanted to have reading comprehension instruction to secondary learners. And another part of the background of the study, in which, as you can see, there is a part here that explains the some additional informations that might not be, or might be considered as the counter arguments coming from the teachers, in which uh, from cited from Berglund, Deschler, and etc. Uh, it seems that uh, the teachers believes that it is not necessary to conduct researches from uh, about the reading comprehension instruction. That's actually cited by Greenleaf, Schonbach, Zico, and Mueller in 2001. Okay, so again, you can actually provide here additional uh, antitheses, so that again, it can help strengthen your point, your point, so that the readers will understand that. I think there is, you know, the point of views of your readers will go deeper uh, once they read some other opinions about your study. That's research background of the study. Now, let's proceed with the research gap. Okay, so research gap is actually, it is a gap identified in a study, and is something that remains to be done or learned in an area of research. It is the gaps of that the research project, or any research project, must have, which the researchers attempts to fill in by conducting the study. Uh, the research gap is actually, again, a part of introduction, in which uh, it succinctly identifies for your audience the gap that you will attempt to address in the project. For example, a gap might be a lack of understanding about how well a particular instrument works in a certain situation. It could be introducing a new method that needs to be tested. This could also be that you are studying a new organism, system, or part of a process. Your project may also address multiple gaps, in which case you should be sure to identify them clearly, each of them clearly. Let's have an example, because the research needs to contribute to the elimination of a gap in a literature. Elimination of a gap in existing literature is one of the compulsory requirements for your study. In other words, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, in a way that your research aims and objectives needs to be totally new, or at least they have to offer new or fresh perspectives on existing issues. For example, this, as you can see in the picture, this is actually uh, a child who is being imprisoned. Okay, for example, in the topic of juvenile delinquency, while thousands of studies have previously conducted to study juvenile delinquency, this topic is far from being exhausted as a research area. Specifically, new studies can be conducted in the area to analyze the gender differences in delinquency, in which, according to previous studies by Simpson and Ellis, Heimer and DeCoster and McCarthy, boys who have internalized hegemonic definitions of masculinity are more likely to engage in crime and violence. So it assumes that there is a gender gap in violation. So your research gap, if your topic is about juvenile delinquency, might be about the the gender differences of those who are being imprisoned in their juvenile ages. Okay, and from that end, you can focus or you can delve with your topic in more specific way. So that's how you create research gap. You have to identify your topic, and then you also have to identify what issue that you wanted to propose or what you wanted to present, and you have to identify the gap between the issue that you wanted to focus on. Now, uh, to help you further, these are the guide questions in writing your own rationale. First, you identify what is the problem of the study. Is it a global problem or local issue? If it is a local problem, it's if it is rather a global problem, how can you make it localized so that you can use it in our locality? Okay, so example, the research gap in the existing literature is that most of the literatures that you found are from other countries, and you wanted to create a research study about the topic that you presented to localize it in order for the or have a voice or have a research that consists of Filipino respondents. Second one, and this problem, who experiences it? You need to also identify the demographics. Okay, the demographic profiles such as the sex, the age, the economic and civil status, and etc. And also, what are the acquainted literatures and studies that will lead to the identification of the problem, or also what are the literatures that you think that will support the problem that you wanted to solve or you wanted to have uh, to propose a particular solution. And based on the related texts and discussions, is there anything that they did not cover that you want to focus on? Okay, so maybe there are issues in their paper that are not being encountered and you wanted to focus on that. Okay, that's another research gap that you'll identify in other parts of the paper that you think you can do. You can create a topic about that gap in the existing literature so that you can focus on that. And another one is, what is your overall question to be answered in the study? What is the general question? That is the main purpose or the main thesis of your paper that you wanted to pursue, so that it will be the overarching question that will help you or guide you all throughout the phase of your study. You have any questions? If none, I just if you have any questions, uh you may send your uh inquiries via my Google account. That's arvincommunicates at gmail.com. Okay, guys, thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something from this. Again, this is a collaborative project from the research department, and we are thankful for everyone who helps us to make this possible. And yeah, again, thank you, and see you next time. Bye.